Where are you at with SMU?
I'm in a good place with SMU. I'd like to see. Why am I in a good place with SMU? Offensive line, quarterback, play caller, all still there. They have an upper tier ACC quarterback in Kevin Jennings. They return enough on the offensive line. They seem to be doing the plug and play offensive skill thing often enough where they're decent at evaluating and developing. I know that they're making a change at coordinator, or their coordinator left, but it's still Rhett Lashlee calling the plays.
Right.
Defensively, it was hiring internally for new co-coordinators with Scott Simons, right, who left for the Cowboys, who's been their very good defensive coordinator, although last year, up and down. It's a decent enough starting point for me where against this schedule, as I bring up the schedule, I think I'm okay. 9-3 seems like the region. If they early on split maybe at Florida State and at Louisville, they have Notre Dame on the road late, so they've got some challenges on the road, but obviously teams have to come to Dallas too. I like teams that are really good in the red zone on defense. There's something to me. I mean, obviously the play calling is in new hands this year, but there is something to me about that, that organization and that coordination that I like a good deal. So I think SMU is going to win a bunch of games. I think there's a talent ceiling and a roster ceiling to this team. I do have questions about where this defense is going to be, but I don't know. They're another one of those teams. We talk about Alex Mirabal getting the benefit of the doubt with an offensive line. I kind of give Rhett Lashlee the benefit of the doubt with winning ACC games.
Well, that's the thing. I think SMU is quietly one of the most interesting teams, not just in the conference, but around college football, because in a very short period of time, the plot line has shifted from whether they belong to what it's going to take for them to fully break through.
Yeah.
SMU made the title game their first year. They made the playoff their first year in the ACC. Yep. And if not for Wake or Cal a year ago, it might have happened again in 2025. They've been really, really solid. It feels like they're on the cusp of maybe being something more, which I think is what you're getting at here.
Yeah.
Because the next step is absolutely winning the conference, i.e., or getting to the playoffs and winning a playoff game. But they're kind of right there.
They've already made the playoff.
They've already made the playoff.
The next step. Yeah.
But winning.
Yes.
Winning once they get there is, I think, the next step for them. Two schools of thought with SMU for me. On one hand, you got Kevin Jennings, star quarterback. You mentioned him, still there. The offensive line looks like one of the better ones in the league. They did really well in the portal, I think, to fill in the gaps. Mm-hmm. All that stuff's really, really good. On the other hand, there's a lot of new skill guys. There are questions about both the front and the back of that defense and, as you mentioned, the two coordinators.
Certainly. Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a push-pull. The most fascinating subplot, though, is their new running back.
Sure. Kendrick Raphael.
Kendrick Raphael. Killed him last year when he was playing for Cal.
Yeah.
So what'd they do? Brought him over.
Yep.
Brought him over, trying to give the running game a little bit of a boost. SMU was not a consistent rushing team at all last season. A lot fell on the arm of Kevin Jennings. He had to make magic in very obvious passing downs. So it was telegraphed, and it made it harder for him. Teams are playing drop coverage. Really hard to throw into that. This year, they're hoping that new running back, new mojo, maybe the receiving core can step up. Again, provided they can get a little bit more of a boost on the ground, I think there's a strong likelihood that could be a pretty big missing piece that we didn't see a year ago.
If we get good Kevin, they're winning a bunch of games.
If we get good Kevin, they're winning a bunch of games.
Yeah.
High Havoc defense was really good against the run last year. They had issues against the pass. This year, like I said, issues for me, both the front and the back of this thing. I think they're big enough up front. More a question of, can they get the same production off the edge that they had a year ago? Because if you're not getting the pressure, you're putting a lot more pressure on your secondary. And there are certainly some teams in this schedule that I think could take advantage.
Agree.
Schedule spaced out pretty well. It's clear that there isn't a whole lot of room for a slow start because they got road games against both Florida State and Louisville in the first 3 weeks of the season. That game against Louisville is going to be really big.
Yes, agree.
But after that, Cal, Virginia Tech, Notre Dame still in the schedule. Win totals at 8.5. I'm with you. I'm on the over. I think they get to 9. I think they end up playing Miami for that conference title, but it is not going to be a walk in the park for SMU. And there are some really, I think, interesting questions about what happens this year.
Their swing games are also, at least after the first, I guess it's 2 out of the first 3 weeks, but Virginia's at home, Cal's at home, Virginia Tech's at home, Wake is at home. A lot of those, like, I don't know if I like them on the road. A lot of those games are in Dallas.
Yeah.
And so the other game that feels a little bit trappy, if Stanford has a heartbeat, getting them on the road after a road game at Notre Dame, however that Notre Dame game goes, we've seen it happen before. Didn't Louisville lose at Stanford recently?
Yep.
Like, there's just situationally, and I think that's Stanford a week after the rivalry game against Cal. So it's tricky for Stanford too. But that game in Palo Alto, we shall see.